Welcome back. Let's now switch gears. Now we head to Abuja studios where we're being joined on the program by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Citizenship and Leadership, Ms. Rinsola Abiola. Ms. Abiola, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
I'm curious. Two questions I want to ask you in one as quickly as possible. So when I saw your office, Citizenship and Leadership, I wanted to be clear on what that means for Nigerians who don't understand what it is. That's on one hand. On the other hand, okay, maybe quickly answer that before I get to my question.
All right, thank you. So I work closely with the leadership of the Ministry of Youth Development. There's an agency under the Ministry of Youth Development called the Citizenship and Leadership Training Center. So my office is directly attached to that agency. We're working on reforming that agency. Then also, as the name suggests, it's about developing young people's leadership potentials, generating, further awareness on our roles and responsibilities as citizens, helping young people develop into leaders, and that's essentially what the bulk of my work as SSAP, Citizenship and Leadership, has been focused on. We work, as I said earlier, closely with the Honorable Minister for Youth Development, influencing policies, and working to ensure that we're able to deliver as a ministry on the Renewed Hope agenda for youth development and the presidential deliverables on youth development.
Okay, so let's get to the crux of the matter. The president had inaugurated our youth committee, National Youth Conference Committee, the other day, and curious minds will begin to imagine. We've had Justice Uwais that had to do with electoral reform. We had Oronsia report that has to do with some reforms in the civil service. We've had the National Confab in 2014 under former President Goodluck Jonathan. And now when we hear of National Youth Conference, one is wondering, what exactly is the end game of the National Youth Conference? Whatever comes out of it, given all these ones I've mentioned, what exactly are we expecting to see in terms of change? Because some people are saying, oh, maybe just to hear the young people out. Is that all that it is? Some are saying it's just an avenue for the boys to cash out. So what exactly is this?
Okay, so I would say firstly that all those previous conferences you listed were not convened by this administration. This is the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and if there is one thing that he has demonstrated, not just since he became president, but since he ventured into public service, into politics, it is that he is a man who keeps his word. And I would also say that this is the very first time in our history that we're having a conference specifically dedicated to young people. So this time around, it is to have young people come together to influence the process of nation building, national development. What do we as young people want to see? If you're on social media, if you watch TV often, which I'm sure you do considering where you work, and you listen to commentary on social issues and politics, you definitely must have noticed that young people usually have so much to say, lots of recommendations to make about how they think governance should be done, how administration should be done, what they think is wrong with the country, what they think we need to do to fix the country. So this is the Renewed Hope administration led by President Bola Tinubu saying, let the young people come together and then put all of these recommendations together. And the president has given his word that any recommendations made as a result of these deliberations that has to do with national development that will move us closer to our goal of building the country of our dreams. These are recommendations that will be implemented. So Mr. President is a man who keeps his word. We have also seen a clear commitment to youth inclusion and prioritizing youth issues by the fact that, one, we have a Ministry of Youth Development that is now separate from sports. At a point when the two were merged together, sports did take precedence over youth issues. And the president doing that is proof of the fact that he actually does want a special focus on youth issues and on youth development for us as a country. We also have, for the first time, that ministry being led by a young person, a young man who is Kwame Ayodele Olawande, and the rest of us working as presidential advisors to support him are also young people. So it is a ministry of young people, led by young people, managed by young people, and working really hard to prioritize the interests of young people. And we've had relative ease with doing this because we have a president who naturally prioritizes young people and understands the importance of young people in nation building and political administration.
Right. I know the president had some sort of sweet words for the youths recently, saying everything I do is about you. Almost sounds like, a line from a love letter or for Valentine's. But the truth is, a lot of young people don't see that. They hear it time and again. They don't see it. They don't feel it. And a lot of them have lost hope in the future. Ironically, this is the renewed hope administration, right? So this is a very vital moment in the nation's history, not just this government's history now, in the nation's history. It's either hit or miss, but we want this to be a hit moment, right? So speak to us about the plans so far. Is this still going to be a 30-day confab? Is it going to hold in the nation's capital, Abuja, or will hold across the states or regions, as the case may be? In terms of date, what are we still looking at? Is the date set by the president, or at least the time frame set by the president, still the same? I'd like you to speak to those specifics so we can help the youths also manage the expectations of this conference.
Thank you. So I would begin by saying that we don't want an Abuja conference, so to speak. We understand that the bulk of our population is at the grassroots, and we also know that the youth demographic is not monolithic, in the sense that you have very different groups of young people. There are the upwardly mobile ones, the professional young people, those who have had higher education, university graduates, non-university graduates, our young people in the formal sector, young people in the informal sector, and there is no way you can take a one-size-fits-all approach to properly consulting and conferring with such a diverse set of people. So what we want to do at this moment is to ensure that we have grassroots engagements, we have regional engagements as well, because again, you'll find that experiences differ across geopolitical zones and regions. So we want to ensure that we have a thorough process of consultation that ensures that we adequately capture the perspectives, the wants, the needs, the requirements, the demands, the recommendations of the different groups of young people, because what we want to deliver on is a country that works for every single one of us and that everybody feels heard and seen and valued. The inaugural meeting of the Conference Planning Committee is actually scheduled to hold this morning by 10 a.m., God willing, at the Ministry of Youth. And at the end of that meeting, we will have further details for the media and for other public stakeholders on the direction exactly that the committee has decided to take with program design, the confab itself. We have ideas, because for the past 5 months, we've done a lot of brainstorming as well. We've engaged our counterparts in civil society. We've engaged our counterparts in the private sector. We've engaged young people broadly. But now that we have a committee in place, we expect that there will be further inputs to be made by members of that committee, and then we can revert with a full document of, updates that properly capture the direction that the committee will be taking with regards to implementation and consultation. But what we do know as a ministry, as young people who have worked, very closely with other young people, even outside of government, is that we need to have a thorough consultation process. And this is something that we are fully committed to delivering on, because it also aligns with Mr. President's commitment. He's a politician, a public servant whose strength lies in the fact that, he does a lot of grassroots engagement and he has a very strong following at that level. So as appointees of government, also prioritizing youth interest, we know as well that our strength, so to speak, as young people is in our numbers, and those numbers are found at the grassroots. So we want to ensure that every single Nigerian youth has a sense of belonging to this process. We also want to capture the thoughts of our young people in the diaspora and our Gen Zs who maybe don't really like physical engagement as much. So we're also working towards having virtual consultations where those who are either not in the country or those who are not able to join the physical engagements for one reason or the other, could be due to work commitments, could be due to, just not wanting to be part of a physical engagement, also have a way to make their inputs and ensure that their thoughts are captured. We also want to receive a memorandum from different socio-political youth groups across the country. There's going to be a portal in the website of the Ministry for Youth Development dedicated to that, to the confab and to getting memoranda submitted by different young people. So we're designing a very thorough consultation process that will ensure that thoughts are captured, that our people can actually speak, and that there is no limit to which young Nigerian exactly can participate in the process. If you can't come to a regional conference, if you can't come to a grassroots maybe town hall. If you can't come to the Abuja conference, you know, you should also be able to participate in that process. The Abuja event eventually would be where we then tie everything together.
So your explainer
recommendations, and we're also very focused on making actionable recommendations.
So your explainer seems to suggest that the planned conference has an expansive scope. But for those who are listening to you right now and are saying, look, past confabs have not been implemented, even though they were not youth confabs, that the documents are just lying somewhere at the national offices without any hopes of anyone considering those documents. And for those also in that category who say that, look, this planned youth conference is just a distraction, and particularly maybe perhaps a subtle recognition of the power of the youth from what they did during the NSAS conference, and again, a distraction from the real issues of governance, which are not changing for the youths who feel a sense of discontent from this administration and past administrations and have a very low trust quotient towards the administration. What would you be saying to convince them otherwise, that this would take a different trajectory?
What I would say is that Mr. President has given his word. He told us, he said it right there at the inauguration of the committee, that the recommendations that we make that will influence national development will be implemented. For those of us who are young people and have always been supporters of the president, even before he became president, it's not something that we doubt, but I can understand if maybe other young people out there who are not very familiar with his trajectory could maybe have doubts or, you know, something similar. Again, previous confabs were not organized by the Tinubu administration. Mr. President decided by himself to announce a youth confab at the October 1 Independence Day address. And this is somebody who has always valued young people, even before he became president. If you look into his history as a politician, as an administrator, he has always platformed young people. So the disposition of being supportive towards young people, of being willing to listen to young people, is not something new. So that gives us the confidence that we have been sent on a national assignment that will actually yield impactful results and that we will be listened to. Also, this is an administration that has prioritized young people in many ways. I mentioned some of them earlier. This administration introduced a student loan fund to ensure that we're able to bridge the gap in education for our young people and offer them, you know, better opportunities by being able to access higher education. An administration that does not care about the interests of young people would not have done, you know, all of these things that I previously listed. So now saying that we want young people to contribute to national development, to state their demands clearly, to make recommendations clearly. We have a very large population of young Nigerians that are doing exceptionally well.
Okay, Ursula,
whether
quickly,
it's in the
pardon me to come in quickly, because of time, I'll just quickly speak to this. In addition to that, are you inviting obedient youth, articulate youth, Kwankwasia youths as well? I don't know which other ones. Are you inviting all of them? Quickly, Ursula.
So I would say that please look through the list of the Confab committee members. It is not a list made up of young people in the APC. We have people from civil society.
No, I'm asking specifically, would you be inviting obedient,
It is open to everybody, as long as you're a young Nigerian. As long as you're a young Nigerian, no matter what side of the divide you belong to, we're young people, we care about national development. We want our country to be better. I believe that the basis...
Just a moment. The question is as direct as it should be, so answer directly. It's open to everybody. Who have you in the committee?
It is open to everybody.
Hold on, Risola. In the committee, do you have obedience? Do you have articulate? That's the question. Yes or no? It's as simple as that.
Oh, in the committee itself?
Yes.
So we have members from across the country who belong to different political parties. So again, go through that list. If you find that it's made up of APC youths, then you can come back and say we've done something that is not holistic.
Well, one more thing, Risola.
Risola, totally out of time. Is maybe we have to bring you back, but I wish you guys the very best. I think it was a direct question. I don't need to look through your list. That's why you're here.
I answered already, but thank you very much.
And again, you know, the reason why we keep asking these questions is because we've seen this before, but you're very confident in the president. But I could also tell you that looking at the budget of the ministry, for instance, it looks like youth ministry is a tokenism because 95% of the budget goes to NYC. 90% of it goes to personnel. When it comes to the cabinet of the president, just maybe about 2 or 3 people are young people. I can go on and on and on. But it's great you believe in the president. He needs those kind of people around him.
I would like to respond to that, please, if you would permit me.
We don't have the time. We'll invite you some other time. Just to give you, just heads up.
Okay, then.
To give
So
you
we
the
have
picture.
unfinished business, because there's a lot to say regarding that, actually.
All right, fantastic. Rinsola Abiola, thank you so much. She's the senior special assistant to the president on citizenship and leadership. We wish you the very best in this confab. Thank you.